I am not a doctor, I am not a specialist, I am not a counselor. I am a person who has lived with this for a decade, and I've kind of learned some things along the way that I wanted to share with you, and I really hope that this helps. Sorry. Hi friends, I'm Anne and welcome to Chronically Beautiful, where we're trying to live our best life even though we probably don't feel like it. And today we're going to talk about chronic fatigue syndrome. Now this is something that not a lot of people talk about, but that a lot of people suffer from, including myself, so I thought it might be good to educate and maybe have a video that you could educate your family about maybe something that you're going through, or maybe even alert you to the fact that you might have this and not even know it. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, stick around. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I would love for you to join the Chronically Beautiful family. And don't forget to ring the bell so you can be notified of all of our future uploads. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with somebody that you know that could use it, and keep coming back. Check out some of my other stuff. I would love it too if you commented below. Let's talk. All right, everybody, let's dive right in. What is chronic fatigue syndrome? Well, first of all, it's known by a few different names. It used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome, or CFS, but it has since changed and has a couple of different names. So you might know it as ME, and I have to read this because it's a really tough word. So you may know it as ME, which is myalgic encephalomyelitis. Encephalomyelitis. That is so fun. This is why I call it chronic fatigue, because myalgic encephalomyelitis is really tough. It's also known as SEID, which is systemic exertion intolerance disease. So it is known as a few different things. So you might know it as ME, CFS, or SEID, SEID. All of them are referring to the same thing. So the actual definition of ME, we'll call it, is a profound fatigue that lasts 6 months or more and isn't cured by any amount of rest. And everybody with chronic illness kind of knows that story, I think, because we may be suffering from other illnesses aside from ME or CFS that cause that same feeling. It just depends on the symptoms of your disease. Not only does ME cause profound fatigue, but it also causes fatigue that is made worse by exercise, by activity, by stress, basically by just living life. No single test can find this. You can't get tested for chronic fatigue. Basically, it is something that they find by testing you for everything else and having those tests come up negative, which is very frustrating. You basically have to use the process of elimination about other illnesses to find out if you have this. It can be triggered by viruses such as the Epstein-Barr virus. That is how my doctor believes that I got it, because I had mono when I was in my early 20s, and I went to work every day and taught through it and was so sick and just was like, oh, it's fine. If I could, I don't regret a lot, but if I could go back and tell my younger self to just stay home when I'm sick, because God knows who I exposed other people to it. I just thought I was so important, and I pushed myself, and afterwards my doctor tested me and was like, yeah, you've had mono for weeks. And I was like, oh. So they do believe that's where it came from me, because it is linked to the Epstein-Barr virus, which causes mono. And it could also be caused by physical stress and immune system problems, which check. We got them all over here. Symptoms are endless and really similar to a lot of the symptoms in other chronic illnesses, which is one of the reasons why it is so hard to diagnose this, but let's go through those symptoms. Symptoms can include, but are not limited to, fatigue, of course, brain fog, skin soreness when touched, poor sleep, difficulty standing or sitting up for long periods of time, IBS or Irritable Bowel Syndrome, enlarged lymph nodes, sore throat, unexplained muscle and joint pain, chills and night sweats, shortness of breath, just general pain, allergies and food sensitivities, headaches, irregular heartbeat, unrefreshing sleep, muscle weakness, extreme exhaustion up to 24 hours after activities that you've been involved with, dizziness, lightheadedness, blurred vision, seeing spots, general weakness. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if you go through each one of those things, you know, brain fog has its whole thing. IBS has a million of its own symptoms. I mean, the things that this disease causes, I mean, it wreaks havoc throughout your whole system. And no doctor can just say, test, check, yes, you have it. It's very difficult to get this diagnosis. And it's often really difficult to get doctors to take you seriously or other people in your life to take you seriously when you have this, which is a serious bummer. And when I was diagnosed with this, I remembered specifically watching an episode of The Golden Girls, which is the best show ever, where Dorothy was being diagnosed with this. And this was when I was a little kid.
Dr. Bud?
Yes.
You probably don't remember me, but you told me I wasn't sick. Do you remember? You told me I was just getting old.
I'm sorry, I really don't
remember. Maybe you're getting old. That's a little joke. Well, I tell you, Dr. Bud, I really am sick. I have chronic fatigue syndrome. That is a real illness. You can check with the Center for Disease Control.
Oh, well, I'm sorry about that.
Well, I'm glad. At least I know I have something.
I'm sure. Well, nice seeing you.
Not so fast.
When I went back and watched it as an adult, when I was going through this, everyone thought she was crazy. And that is the thing that is so frustrating about having chronic illness, especially one like this that is so difficult to diagnose, that it's just nearly impossible. So I definitely completely can relate to Dorothy in that episode. And if you haven't seen that episode of The Golden Girls, you need to. I think they're on Hulu, but it's a really good one. Now, those are the symptoms. Let's talk about some of the complications that can be caused by chronic fatigue syndrome. Depression, and that's more of a complication and not a symptom because it affects your entire life. Depression, social isolation, which is huge. All of these things really can relate to anybody with chronic illness, honestly. But just, you don't want to go anywhere. You never feel good. You don't want to go out. Who knows if you'll get sick? You don't want to risk it. And so you're missing out. You're missing out on family parties and time with friends. And right now we're all experiencing social isolation, but the pandemic will be over soon. And before it happened, it's very possible that you were feeling that way because of something like CFS. It also can, you know, along with social isolation, it really puts some lifestyle restrictions on you. You may not be able to travel like you would like to. You may be unable to participate in exercise or classes or going to college or even going to school the way that you would like to. And especially things like missing work. If you're an adult who is working and trying to support yourself or your family, up to 25% of people who or more that have this disease can't work because it is so intense. And that is a major, major complication. And because there isn't any one medication that can fix it, it can seem really scary and lonely to have this diagnosis knowing that it could so drastically affect your whole life. Because there is no cure or official treatment for chronic fatigue syndrome. A lot of people say exercise helps and makes you feel better for any illness, and it doesn't for this. Exercise can make this worse. You're already experiencing bone weakness and muscle weakness and pain, and exercising could just exacerbate this situation and throw you in to an episode that would take you weeks to recover from. So we can't just say, well, just go eat better and exercise. Drinking water always helps though. So knowing that you could have this really difficult illness and that there is no concrete way to get a specific diagnosis and that there is no concrete way to cure it or even treat it with medication, it's really hard knowing that this is what's happened to you. And I was there 10 years ago. I was there, and it's taken me probably the last 4 or 5 years. I have been living well with chronic illness, but before that I really, really struggled. And I have Hashimoto's disease, and oftentimes it's like, is it from that? Is it from CFS? I'm not sure what's going on. And that happens often. A lot of us have multiple chronic illnesses. So it's just an extreme challenge. But here are some ideas that have helped me and that may also help you. One of the things that has helped me the absolute most with my physical symptoms was starting depression medication. And I had no idea that it was going to help me physically at all. Like, I really didn't expect it. I started taking Lexapro. That's a depression, it's an anti-anxiety medication. I started taking that because I was diagnosed with clinical depression a couple of years ago. And I started taking that medication for that after seeing a therapist, which is another great idea to help you deal with CFS. But when I started taking that medication, I had no idea the physical toll that stress was having on my life. And that medication helped me to eliminate as much of that stress as I could and not worry about it so much. And my headaches immediately improved. My stomach aches immediately improved. My anxiety immediately began to improve, and all of the physical symptoms that come with that. So it's a huge decision to go on any type of medication, but especially depression medication. I get it. But for me, it was a golden ticket. I spoke about therapy. That I couldn't live without that. I see an amazing counselor in my area that has really, really helped me and helped me to realize that I was suffering from depression, and helped me to come to grips with the fact that I was going to have to medicate for it. Stretching and movement therapy, exercise is something that's going to be tough for us, but just doing basic, gentle, easy stretches and movement can bring you a great amount of relief from the pain that you're feeling in your muscles and the weakness that you're feeling. Just laying in your bed, just doing gentle stretches. I'm not talking about getting into an intense yoga routine or having to do anything like that, but just do a few gentle, easy stretches that feel good on your body before bed or when you get up in the morning. It's amazing the difference that it makes when I stretch versus when I don't. Getting massage therapy has been amazing and worked wonders for me. But again, you have to talk to your massage therapist about making sure that it's gentle and that you're not getting any kind of deep tissue massage that you can't handle. You can get a gentle massage that will really help your muscles to feel better and just alleviate some of that constant pain that you have. Heat, always good. I use a heating pad. I love to take a nice hot bath and get a good soak with some Epsom salts. It's wonderful. We happen to have an infrared sauna in our basement. It was a gift from a neighbor that was moving. They just weren't going to take it with them, so they gave it to us. Otherwise, we'd never have something like that, but it's amazing to just be in that heat and feel the relaxation, the muscles, the pain starts to melt away just dealing with the heat. So for me, it's really wonderful. Some people can't deal with that level of heat without feeling sick. Having water really, really helps a lot when you're doing things with high heat. But for me, that really, really helps to alleviate a lot of my pain. Gentle toning exercises are something that could help you to feel a little bit more in control and also allow your muscles to gain a little bit of strength that they may have lost from any time that you have spent not moving very much. If you've, spent a great deal of time in bed, just very, very gentle toning exercises, tiny leg lifts off the bed, only things that you can handle, because intense exercise could exacerbate the situation. But if you're someone that's really struggled and you're struggling now with strength, that's going to be something that might help you. And of course, don't ever start any kind of an exercise routine without talking to your doctor. Water therapy or swimming is also a type of exercise that might really be helpful. Swimming is my go-to. A lot of high intensity exercises really hurt me. I can walk. I do walking around my neighborhood, but we also have a pool, and swimming is everything. I can't tell you how much swimming has helped me. Because of the motions that you're using, you get gentle stretching while you're swimming. You're getting to build those muscles up a little bit. There's no pressure on your body because you're buoyant in the water. If you have a local gym nearby or a YMCA, somewhere that has a pool, I would highly recommend even just getting in that pool, or if they have a spa hot tub kind of thing, just getting in there, or even a nice warm bath. Again, just to get that kind of hydrotherapy, warm water on your muscles. I can't recommend that enough. Some other things that may be helpful are acupuncture, which for me, I did not like it. I couldn't deal with lying that still for that long with like needles sticking out of my face. It wasn't the needles that bothered me. It was the fact that you can't move once they're in because it could hurt. And it does hurt when you flex muscles that needles are sticking into, I can tell you. So acupuncture wasn't for me, but acupressure, which is very similar, only it's not a needle going in. It's using, you know, fingers or a tool to touch pressure points on your body to help to relieve pain. And that has been huge for me. I think I may even do a video on acupressure and pressure points, because in my times of the most pain, most nausea, biggest headaches, most fatigue, it has really, really been helpful for me. So do a little research on acupressure and different acupressure points for dealing with different symptoms. Some other things that have really helped me in my battle with chronic fatigue syndrome, or ME, are not necessarily like medical, but just things that have really helped me. So brain fog is a huge issue with this disease. So having a planner of some type has really, really helped me. Even if it's just a notebook where you jot down your ideas, your thoughts, the things that you need to remember. You could use your phone, of course, the calendar on your phone or the notes app, but having somewhere to get everything out of my brain, because my brain runs crazy and then I can't remember anything. And then not only am I a jerk because I forgot something, but then I feel terrible and guilty because I'm not getting the things done that I need to get done. I'm letting people down, etc. So having some type of a planning system is really, really important when you're dealing with this type of a disease. Seeking professional counseling, I mentioned it before, but I just can't speak highly enough about the benefits of getting a professional counselor. Your friends and family can listen, and it's important. That's on this list too. Reaching out to friends and family and having a support system is so, so, so important. People need to know what you're dealing with because they want to be there for you, but they're not always going to be able to help you in the ways that you need it. In fact, most likely they will not. They will not understand what you're going through. They will not be able to give you the proper help and advice that you need to cope with this, which is why you need to find a professional counselor, and at the very least, some type of a support group with other people like you who can really understand what you're going through. Facebook has always been a wonderful place that I have gone. Every time I get diagnosed with a new thing, I join a Facebook group and they're there, and there's always someone that knows what I'm going through and has been where I've been and has had this symptom and has advice for me, or is just there to listen. I could not recommend enough seeking the support of people that are going through what you're going through. Trying your best to eat a balanced diet, which I know is difficult when you don't even want to get out of your bed, but it makes a huge difference. You know that eating sugar and fried foods and fast food and all that junk that's easy, it's toxic to your body. And this doesn't mean you need to become a meal prep maniac and whatever and all of that, but maybe just try your best to get some fresh fruits and vegetables into the house. Find the healthy things that you actually like and keep those on hand. If the only fruit you like is apples, fine, eat apples. You don't have to become someone who drinks kale smoothies, but trying to put the things into your life that are healthier, you can't do it if it's not there. So start with an apple and maybe get rid of the cookies, because we don't need that junk. Our bodies are struggling enough without sugar and saturated fats. Not that I don't eat those things, but I know I always feel better when I am eating a balanced diet with lots of water, lots of produce. Meditation and mindfulness is also something that's really helped me, and something that I find a lot of people in my life really enjoy doing and appreciate having someone else to do with. So I haven't been with my students for 10 months, but when I am with my students, we try to practice mindfulness at least once a week. And there are many videos out there that just give you a 10-minute opportunity to just breathe and be and not worry about everything that's going on. Now, meditation is really difficult if you're new, but mindfulness is a great place to start on your road to being able to become a person that meditates. And it is incredible the difference that 5 minutes of mindfulness can make in a day, where you maybe were having a rough day or really aren't feeling well or really, really struggling mentally. Mindfulness is amazing. And like I said, there are a bunch of different YouTube channels that have some great mindfulness exercises, even mindfulness for chronic illness, mindfulness for headaches. There's all kinds of things out there. I cannot overemphasize the importance of rest. You have to rest. And that's something that I have always struggled with. I think this pandemic, if it's taught me anything, it's taught me that life will be okay if I am not scheduled every second of every day. having some white space on the pages of my planner does not mean that I am not a good human being. It means that I am giving my body an opportunity to rest that it really, really needs. I know for me, the number one way to get a flare-up of chronic fatigue is to overschedule. Always, always, without a doubt. If I'm leading up to a concert and I'm running crazy and I'm having a million rehearsals and I'm doing all this extra stuff, without a doubt, 90% of the time, the day after the concert, I'm down. I am having a massive flare-up. My immune system is just completely beat. It's opening me up to catch all kinds of other crud and crap, which always happens to me. So scheduling rest and allowing yourself to take that downtime, which is so hard for people who work, for moms and parents who are trying their best, for students. It's hard, I get it, but it's so, so important. I haven't had a flare-up in 10 months. And that's because I've been resting for 10 months. I mean, the evidence is pretty clear. Asking for help, of course, I mentioned having a support system. If you need someone to come over and help you, take you grocery shopping, go get groceries for you, help you clean your house, ask. And if you don't have a friend or family member that can do that for you, there are lots of services that you can reach out, and there are lots of organizations who have volunteer opportunities for people that want to help you. So look into that, because if you need help, you need to ask for help. You don't have to do this alone. Managing physical and emotional stress is one of the best gifts you can ever give yourself. And that comes from kind of doing the rest of this, making sure you have a plan and sticking to it, making sure you don't overschedule, making sure that you have time for mindfulness. All of these kind of lead up to that piece of managing physical and emotional stress. If you don't put yourself in the position to get stressed, then you're not going to put yourself in the position to get those flare-ups and to make your symptoms worse. It is the best gift you can give yourself ever. It's not easy, but it's doable, and I know you can do it. And finally, knowing the kinds of medications that work for you to manage your symptoms. For me, my nausea and headaches for quite a long time just ruled my life. Those were my biggest symptoms. And so I really, over the years, have been able to cultivate exactly what I need for each different kind of stomach ache that I get, and exactly the kind of thing I need to take for each different headache that I get. And, using medications that are there to help you. There is nothing wrong with taking a medication if you have a horrible symptom that you cannot handle on your own. And it doesn't mean you have to go to a doctor and get a prescription. There are many over-the-counter medicines out there that could be very helpful to you. There are many homeopathic medicines out there that could be really helpful to you. And I do have a couple of other videos about how to, manage stomach aches and things like that. So check those out. I'll try to link them somewhere. I always say I'm going to, and I never remember, but just go scrolling through and look for the ones that you need. But those are kind of the big ticket ways to sort of manage this illness. I'm sorry this is just a me kind of talking at you video, but sometimes I just would like to share some information with you and get it out there in the hopes that it will help at least one other person. I wish that I had had information like this when I first got sick. It would have made me feel so much less alone, and you are not alone. I am here. If you need me, comment below, reach out, find me on social media. I would love to talk more. I am so glad that you came on this adventure with me today, and I hope that you can find your Zen place when dealing with chronic fatigue syndrome like I have. Thank you so much. Keep coming back, and take care of you. Bye. Hello. Hey, it's me. My anxiety immediately improved. I can't talk today. Get off my A right back.